Hello, English 231 students. My name is Shadala and today I'll be explaining what a slave narrative is and how it's important to American society. A slave narrative is a personal account of what it was like to live in slavery. Slave narratives were written by abolitionists and slaves who lived in the South. The slave narrative is an explanation of what life was like in slavery and what they encountered during their life and how they overcame their trials and tribulations. Slave narratives served as functions for the abolitionists helping to try to abolish slaves. They also gave Northerners an insight into what life was like in slavery. Many of the Northerners were confused about slavery since they were not there to see it firsthand. Only thing the Northerners had to go by was what the picture that the slave owners painted for them, and they really didn't think slavery was a bad thing because they hadn't seen the other side of slavery. However, when these slave narratives began being published and released, and the Northerners were able to get a hold of these, they were very shocked, and many of them found the stories amazed, and many of the abolitionists were able to get Northerners on their side trying to abolish slavery. Many found these stories amazed because in the slave narratives, you see different things like heroism, people escaping, and at the end, some end good, some end bad. It portrayed the slaves as good people because they were able to overcome their challenges and they did not allow it to defeat them. Many slaves did endure a hard time, but yet this only allowed them to keep pushing and pushing until they are actually able to get free. Some of the different things you'll see associated with different slave narratives while studying them is religion, relationship with their family, relationship with their slave owners, how they would leave. Many would leave, and when they would come back, they would be beaten. Many families were separated, and that had a big change for everybody. And that was some people's breaking point, being broke up for their family. But others used it as a motivation to keep fighting to try to end slavery because they felt as though once they were free, they would be able to go back and find their family. Some of the people who wrote these slave narratives was abolitionists and slaves in the South. And some of their publication methods included newspapers, books, pamphlets, journals, sermons, and poetry. Sermons was one of the main ways that they were able to get their slave narrative out there because many of the slaves were illiterate, so they didn't have a way to write down their encounters. So they would just go around telling their stories to different people and spreading their word that way. But some of the illiterate ones were able to get some of the abolitionists or other slaves that were able to read and write to actually listen to their story as they dictated it, and they were able to write it down and get it published that way. Some famous slave narratives that were published includes Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl, Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American Slave, and 12 Years a Slave by Solomon Northup. Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl is a famous slave narrative that gives the insight of a Southern girl in her life during slavery. She was born into slavery as a child, and at a young age, her mom died. Well, she still had her grandmother around and her brothers and sisters. However, they eventually were separated, but she still had contact with them. But she had a different mister as they did also. When she was first put into slavery, her mistress was very kind to her. They had a close relationship. She looked at her as if she was her mom because her mistress and her mom was close, and her mistress promised her mom that she would always make sure her daughter had a good life and she would be well taken care of if something ever happened to her. And her mistress kept her word up until her dying bed. However, when she died, that's when the life for the slave girl changed, and she had a new mister that was in charge of her, and that's when she encountered her beatings and harsh treatings and cruel labor that to the point wanted her to run away, and she was unable to do anything she wanted. She met someone she wanted to marry. He wouldn't allow her to marry. And when she was pregnant, that was considered a punishment for her. So she was punished, and it got to the point where she couldn't take it anymore, so she left behind her kids with her grandmother and ran away. But eventually she was able to get freed. And this is just an example of how some of the slave narratives go throughout the story. The slaves, they don't hide anything. there as truthful as possible to give everyone that personal hand experience and not withhold anything. And by doing this, it allows one to feel more involved in it and relate to the emotions associated with the slave narratives. In conclusion, slave narratives were an important part of early American culture because they served as important historical documents that explain personal firsthand experience into the lives of slavery. If you have any questions, you can comment and I'll respond. Thank you.